Here we go, loop-de-loo. Here we go, loop-de-lie. All on a Saturday night. Let's refresh this. Oh, let's keep refreshing this. Okay. Why hasn't it started? Here we go. All right. Well, hello, friends, and yes, this is my birthday eve. My actual birthday is tomorrow, but that's why I'm doing a live stream today, and also, yeah, I'll talk more about that in a minute. But yeah, we're this is pillow talk, you know. So we got this beautiful Vox amp pillow that my friend Dana at True Tone gave me. So I need to put a shout out to Dana and a shout out to True Tone, my wonderful employer and maker of wonderful power supplies. And yeah, so thanks to True Tone, thanks to Dana. I mean, Dana got me this. So this is a wonderful Vox pillow that I don't know. We're gonna have to see, you know, where it makes it to. So it might only make it here into my office, but you know, let's get it. Yeah, got to get it just right. All right. So we've got Plexico starting off. You need to set a time to go live, otherwise I'll never stalk you and throw money your way. Well, I'm just glad you made it, Plexico. So thank you, and thank you for throwing money my way. I appreciate that. I better put a heart on this. Yeah. Woo. Yeah, that amp looks like a pillow. I'm playing through a deluxe reverb today, but it looks like a pillow. Thank you for all the happy birthdays. Yeah, I'm doing well. And we got some good afternoon from Plattsburgh, New York. We got some, I'm getting to the age where I think gain sounds better. You know, let's see. I'm trying to see what the comment says. Let's see. I can't see all of it. Huh. Okay. Well, regardless, thank you, Basil. Oh, where I think gain sounds better than overdrive. Okay. Today I'm playing my old Danocaster Kubicki body. This was always, this was kind of my way of trying to have a Joe Glazer Telecaster, because that was my dream guitar when I was a kid. And so this kind of fit the bill as closer than anything else. So it's single bound, it's got 3 pickups, and of course a B bender on there. And I've had about 8 or 10 different necks on here through the years, but it's a good guitar. So hello from Roanoke, from Know It Pure. SD says, hey Zach, hope you have a good birthday. I have a question on your Telecaster setup video. You didn't say anything about the neck shimming. How do you? I try not to neck shim if possible, but obviously sometimes that doesn't work. And so I prefer to shim at this end of the neck to raise it up to where you have to raise the saddles higher. And usually I'll take a business card, which of course no one uses business cards anymore, but I'll take old business cards and I'll cut up a piece of that and just put it at this end of the pocket, as it were. So that's what I do when I need to shim. So yeah, to get it to get the saddles up a little higher and such. And sometimes I have shimmed on the other end of the neck pocket, and that allows you, of course, to lower the saddles more. We just started Old Crow, so don't get too sad or upset. So yeah, and we got a lot of happy birthdays, and yeah, and like my sister Courtney says, he's just getting warmed up now. Court J8, as always, is the moderator on the show, and you know, I always pay attention to what she says. You don't want anything bad to happen to you. So anyway, I'm just of course giving her a hard time. Veronica Phillips, hello and thank you. Let's see. We'll go ahead and start talking about a couple different things that are going on. So one, as you've noticed, last week I did a live stream, and then this week I did a live stream, and that's because I've been working a lot on another project, and it's really kind of eaten into Ask Zach time, but it's finally getting to the point where we're able to let some of the info out of the bag. So one thing you need to do, if you're not already following me on Instagram, you need to go do that. So if Courtney, if you'll put up a link to the Instagram account, that way people can follow that, because there's going to be a lot of fun information coming out about a collaboration that I've been working on with Joe Glazer and Brad Paisley. So we're going to start letting some of the cat out of the bag. So make sure and follow me on Instagram, because there's information that's going to be coming out, posts that are going to be coming out this week. So it'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, and so of course, because of this project that's been going on, that's why I've been kind of doing more live streams lately. And we will have regular Ask Zach episodes again starting next week. And so part of it, next week's episode is actually going to be answering a question that y'all have been asking me for years, and that's for me to talk about some of the things on the shelf here. And so I went through part of my shelf, so and that was like 19 minutes. So depending on how that does, I'll do the rest of the shelves on my old gigantic bookshelves. And thank you to Courtney for posting the Instagram link. All right, let's see some more comments. Itchy Brother says, I learned a neat way to shim using soda cans from an engineer. Oh, that's a good method, because the metal is really thin on cans now, and so that's a good, really hard thing. So that's a good idea. Just be a little careful not to, of course, cut yourself when you're cutting up those tin cans. Preacher Man, I like that one. Son of a preacher man, I hope. Hold on, we gotta. Let's put it on the neck pickup. Preacher Man, he says, hey, Paul and the band came through a couple weeks ago. Missed seeing you at the motel, Connors College. Yes, I wasn't there that week, Preacher Man. I was there the week after that, which was last week, so sorry about that. Kevin says, happy birthday and howdy. Really, yes, the interview with Steve Warner and Dr. Joe Glazer, that was a lot of fun. So, yeah. No charge for the clams there. Let's see. Chip Thomas is on the line. So one of my dearest, oldest friends, who has done a lot of work on this guitar, Chip Thomas, an old friend of mine back in Kingsville, Texas. He's Meanie05, if you want to, call him out. He did a lot of work on this guitar and helped me some of the different necks that were on it and such. And yeah, he knows this guitar well. So a big shout out to Chip Thomas, a good long friend. And in life, you don't have that many good old friends. And so be grateful for them and say hi to them. David Campbell says, hey Zach, do you know how close the neck feels of a Classic Vibe 50 feels to the original? Well, I mean, I've played tons of real Blackguards and 50s guitars, and a lot of them, they have generalizations within like the week or month that they were made. So let's say if you're talking about July of 53, well, that kind of tends to have a neck shape, but that can be pretty different than later on. Part of it is because you had different people doing it. So you might have had one person shaping the necks at one point, but then they didn't do it 3 months from then, or they were told to do it differently. So I just, I think Classic Vibe 50s Tellys have good necks on them. So I think that's really the point there. So ever play through Weber speakers? I did. I used to have some of the silver and blue bells that I had in some Dr. Z amps that were, really powerful and loud. And I just got to where I wasn't playing through big amps anymore. So another comment about the Joe Glazer and Steve Warner interview. That one was probably one of the best interviews I've ever done. It was a lot of fun. It helped that I didn't have to talk a whole lot, that all I had to do was kind of wind up Joe and Steve, and they have such a good chemistry together. So that was a lot of fun. I wish Bukovac would go on your show. You've had everyone else. Pasta Patat. Tom, is so present with his own show. I really don't see why you'd need to get an interview with Tom. I mean, if he wanted to do that down the road, we could talk about it. But, the thing is that there's not a lot of, he has a couple episodes a week, and you get to see tons and tons of Tom, through that. So I think that's probably the best thing. If the time's right and everything, kind of worked out, yeah, I'd be happy to do it. But yeah. Oh, let's see. Howdy. Howdy again from Chip. Any plans to visit Idaho? Not that I know of. Any thoughts on Reverend Telly style guitars? I agree. I think the Pete Anderson looks nice. I've played a couple of them, and they were good guitars. I mean, I just take them on an individual basis. It's like, pick it up, play it. Is it good? If money were no object, what's your dream rig? I mean, I kind of have my dream rig to a degree. I mean, I think a good deluxe reverb, or one of those Headstrong Little Kings. Maybe make it 2 of them, and then, a good telly. I really love my 57 Esquire. I don't think there's anything I'd give it up for. And then I'd want another telly that had, kind of more stuff on it, and maybe a bender and such. And then a basic pedal board like I use. I really, I don't really have a dream rig that's completely out of the ordinary. Thank you, Chip. Does it make any sense to send a Fender Ventura inexpensive telly to Glazer? Absolutely. If it's a good guitar, yeah, then, and if you enjoy playing it, yeah, send it off. And those Venturas are great. Find you a good telly and send it off to, send it to Joe and have him put a bender on it. I love them. This had the old style bender on it for years. I had it put on in the 90s, and I liked the newer style so much that I had him yank the old style bender and put the new style that of course goes on a old style bridge, and I just love the feel of it. Itchy Brodo is saying, what was Tadeo's era? Well, early 50s to mid 50s. I mean, his signature stopped being on stuff, but then he left in the mid 50s, I think around 57, and then he came back later on, but unfortunately he came back as a custodian. So he wasn't shaping necks anymore, which they should have been having him do that. So, oh, let's see. Itchy says he has a buckshot that he loves. Zach, I know you've covered Dan Electros in the past. Do you have a source for pickup selector switches for a 58 U2? I don't. You know, I've always, found stuff. Steve Soest sells a lot of newer Dan Electro parts off Reverb. And then as far as finding old parts, I don't know the exact part number that's on there, but I don't have... unfortunately, I don't have a source for an original pickup selector for a 58 U2, so sorry about that. Veronica Phillips, she's commenting to David about the classic vibe, and yeah, I'm right along with that. On a lot of those guitars that have a really glossy finish, I'll take steel wool. And just like Veronica is mentioning, you get the 4.0 steel wool, take it to the back of the neck, and you're just kind of smoothing it out. It's not like you're trying to take off a bunch of finish or anything. Yeah. I read that they're an off on off switch. Huh. Okay. I thought it was just a regular three-way switch. Okay. The person you ought to reach out to is Jeff Sin. Look up Jeff Sin guitars, and he has a lot of experience repairing Dan Electros. And he would be somebody that I would reach out to as far as that. And he would have a good response for you. And he's just a great guy. And you ought to check out his website, Sin, I think it's Jeff Sin Guitars, or maybe it's Sin Guitars, or Original Sin Guitars, SENN. Yeah. When did Marty Stewart start his B-Bender adventures with Clarence White's Telly? What was it, before Skaggs and Warner? I think it would be probably about the same time as Skaggs was doing the Danocaster, the electric mandolin with a bender, and Warner was starting to mess around with some benders also. So I think they were all kind of messing with it at the same time. Marty could have been a little bit before, but these guys were, they were all influenced by Clarence and Albert Lee and the stuff he did, like on Emmylou records and things like that, and Clarence White stuff. Hi, Zach. Had pulled out of the parking lot at work heading to get some ice cream because I had a bad day. Do you? Well, I'm glad to make your day better, and enjoy some ice cream. Yeah. Any advice on good country tones for my Fender Bass 6? Okay, I have mine over there. I really like to use the bridge pickup by itself, or I like to use the outer two pickups. That's kind of, those are my favorite sounds. And then of course to replicate the sound on the Don't Worry About Me by Marty Robbins, you put on a good heavy fuzz on there. All right. Sweet looking and sounding Telly there. Zach, boss is coming back to work for me. Uh-oh. Well, you better be careful then. I'm going to give another plug for True Tone, and so I'm grateful for True Tone and worked for them for almost 17 years now. And so if you need a power supply, make sure and get a one spot and such. I'm grateful for them and for them allowing me to do a lot of great interviews and such. Let's see. How about your opinion on Tele Deluxe with a single coil humbucker? You know, I really don't have a whole lot of experience with that guitar, so I really couldn't tell you a whole lot about that. Yeah, I'm sorry that Jeremy's Dan Electro switch has fallen apart. Daniel Velasquez says, hello Zach, my first Danocaster double cut is on the way right now. What am I in for? Well, you're in for a fantastic Strat. Dan does amazing stuff, and yeah, obviously I've got, you know, a Danocaster neck on this guitar, and then I've got a red Danocaster over there against the couch, and they're really great, well put together instruments, and they have great feeling necks. He does a really, that I think is probably the hallmark of Dan's builds, is that he really does a great job. And I don't know how much of it's oil and finish or whatever, you know, I've never tried to figure out, you know, what his recipe is, because that wouldn't be fair. But yeah, I think he does probably one of the best neck finishes, and he's really good at shaping them too. DK says, which boutique guitar company makes the better Tele, K-Line or Whitfill? Well, I've played more Whitfills than K-Lines, so it kind of makes it unfair, but I liked the Whitfills that I played. I played a few Blackguards that he made. They were nice guitars. So, the Big Brizzle? Yeah, I'll be in Nashville May 16th through 19th. Any music houses or shows you'd recommend? Yeah, you need to go see... you need to see Luke McQuarrie along with the rest of the guys with Kelly's Heroes. They play Wednesday through Saturday at Robert's Western World, and they play from 6:30 to 10 p.m. And that's a must-see. If you're around on a Monday night, you need to go see the Time Jumpers. If J.D. Simo is playing over at Eastside, the bowling lanes, you need to go see him. If Guthrie Trapp is playing in town, you know, you just need to check with those guys and see where they're playing. So you know, Time Jumpers, Robert's Western World with Kelly's Heroes, and you know, go see Guthrie Trapp, go see J.D. Simo. Those are plenty of good cats to go see. Oh, Luis Navarrete, hello from Oregon. Which version of the modern Fender Princeton amp reissues do you prefer? I really like the straight up 65 reissue. I had bad luck with the hand wired, and I think I just had a bad one or something, but I liked the 65 reissue a lot. The Silverface 68 is a good one too, but my favorite, pardon me, is the 65 reissue. Then I also, of course, like the Stapleton one, but that's a big jump in price and a very different sound. So yeah, I just had a bad experience with the hand-wired 64. So, but yeah, get the 65. It's the cheapest one of the lot, and it's a good amp. Let's see. Dean Lee says, have you tried the new Gibson Falcon amps? I have not. I've not played them at all. They look like cool amps. My friend Lyle, Sonic Audio out in Memphis, had some concerns about their construction, but I have not played through one. So, thoughts on the newer Fender JV modified 60s, 50s tellies? They look really cool. I have not played one. I really, I do go to music stores and I do, but so many times, you end up talking and stuff like that. I don't really end up getting to pick up a lot of stuff. So, and sometimes you just don't have enough time before you have to go play a gig or whatever else. So, Rico B says, greetings from sunny Arizona. Greetings. Eston Ray says, happy birthday. Thank you. Yes, again, tomorrow is my birthday. I'll be 51, if you can believe that. Most people think I'm 60 or older or something. I'm just kidding. Some of the guys at True Tone were joking about me being older, so older than I really am. Oh, Jim Frank Jr. says, thanks for turning me on to Reggie Young. Didn't know he played on so many great tracks. He certainly did. Oh no. Little Reggie Young tribute there. Country is having a big moment with younger kids via the country gaze genre emerging. Exciting time to be a country fan. New and old worlds colliding and merging. Yeah, I've been surprised. My kids, love 90s country, and there's a lot of interesting younger country acts that are doing, everyone from Sierra Farrell to Ernest, and and you get a lot of, even Hardy has done like these Hicks tapes, mixtape things and stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of interesting things going on now. It's a cool time. Some of the stuff on the radio's not so great, but then there's a lot of really great things going on too. So yeah. Any thoughts on what the best ODR1 that's not made by Nobles? Oh golly. I don't know. I would probably go with Apollo approved. I mean, it's a higher one, but I mean, I'm really happy with the Sawdust, which is their version of a Mostortion. Enough so that I put it on my my touring board. I took the old original Mostortion off and I put the Sawdust on there. So I would think that they would do a really great job, though I haven't played through it before. Most of the copies are too nice, and part of what the Nobles, the original Nobles, is a pretty funky pedal, and I think part of what makes it cool is the cheapness of it. So I think it's like, when you start putting fancy cheese on a hamburger, it gets away from, having Velveeta or just a good old slice of American on there. Let's see. And thank you for the happy birthday wish, EJ. Jim Frank, yes, Drift Away. Huge thanks for the Warner Glazer interview. Well, you're very welcome. Again, that was a really, really special thing. And I just have to say it again and again. That was Steve Warner's idea. Steve Warner is probably one of the nicest guys on the planet, besides being an amazing singer, songwriter, guitarist, and painter. He's also an amazing painter. I've seen a lot of his artwork. He was kind enough to show Joe Glazer and I his artwork after we filmed that interview. And thank you so much. That was a really special thing to get to film. And yeah, that's probably one of my, as far as interviews, it's one of my crowning achievements, really. And I really loved it because I didn't have to do as much talking because, Joe and Steve did most of it. Let's see. little Steve Warner for you. Let's see. A little Linda. Let's see. Oh, older than you, Zach. Yeah. What neck is on that guitar? It's a Danocaster neck. Eston Ray, thank you very much. Happy birthday, beer. All right. Thank you very much. Much appreciated. This has a Danocaster neck on it. This is a Phil Kubicki body made in 1981 or 82. Single bound with a middle pickup. It was routed for a middle pickup. It was owned by Mike McAdam, that played with Steve Earle and Rodney Foster and Lloyd in the 80s and 90s. And so he had sold it at some point in the 90s, and then I bought it from a middleman that had it for a little while. And so I've had it since the mid 90s. I got it when when my main telly was stolen, and so I got this for, I think for $300. So of course it had a different neck on it at the time. Any plans on interviewing Tom Britt? I need to interview Tom Britt. Yeah, that would be a good one to do, Jesse. Indiana Tanner here. I lust over that Warner Signature Gretsch. That is a beautiful guitar. I reviewed it for Vintage Guitar Magazine. It's got that magic black finish. It is a gorgeous instrument, and it plays great. It's probably one of the best Gretsch instruments there is. You know, especially, and the new ones are kind of better than the old ones. So thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for the happy birthdays. And let's see, any thoughts on Michael Kelly guitars? I haven't really played a whole lot of them. I've played some of the Tellys and stuff, just, you know, like that I happened to pick up at a music store, and there was nothing wrong with them, you know. It's like anything. I mean, it's like you just kind of go around and you pick up guitars and you find the ones that you can't live without. And then the ones that you have, you keep messing with them until they, until you get them right. So this one's had a bunch of different necks on it. So, and let's see. Let's see. Well, I tried to do C'est La Vie, but it was close enough. Let's see. Happy birthday from Branson, Missouri. Thank you, Dino Strunk. Leo Ahern, you're competing with 5 Watt World's live stream on YouTube. Yes, I know I am, Leo, and I'm sorry about that. Usually he does his on Thursdays, and so I didn't see the thing up. Otherwise, you know, I wouldn't have done that against Keith. But I'd already put out the word that I was going to do this. So apologies to Keith Williams, and a surprise that he moved away from his Thursday afternoon live stream that he normally does. I've always done Monday or Tuesday to try to stay out of his way. So. Let's see. Tala Music says, happy birthday from Memphis. Well, thank you, and I love Memphis. Love going there. Chris Quinn says, boy, those Terada-made Japanese Gretches are sure great. They really are. Pretty good prices for them on the used market as well. Yeah, a lot of them are in the mid, you know, in the $1,500 to $2,000 range, which is really, really great. Yes, thank you for understanding, Leo. Yeah. Veronica says, shh, we won't tell Keith. Oh, he'll find out and he'll text me later and he'll give me some grief, but it's okay. I can take it. We can give it and take it from each other. Kira and Gina, thank you so much for the tip jar. It says, for all the great interviews and turning me on to the True Tone VSXO. Happy birthday. Thank you. Great pedal, and yeah, and thank you. Those interviews are a ton of fun to do. So let's see. happy birthday. Let's see, Keith McConchie says, I want to gig with my Dream 65. Do you need a power amp like a Seymour Duncan? You don't have to. I mean, when I gig with mine, I just, plug it into I have a direct box on my board, and that goes in, so you can have it feeding through monitors, or of course, most of the time when I gig, I use in-ear monitors. And so you don't have to have a power amp. I mean, I guess if you weren't using wedges or, monitors of some kind, then you would need to have a power amp of some kind. Have you played a Fender Ultra Tele? Nope, I have not. So, there's a lot of models I haven't played, so. Leo says, what do you think of a 74 Vibrachamp and 74 Bronco variant? I mean, they're the same amp. The only difference is the, I would go with the Bronco because it has the red logo on it, and it's a little, I think it's just a little cooler, just because it's rarer. So, but if one amp is better than the other, I'd go with that. Yeah, Music Grounds are a great place to find some cool stuff. Dylan says, what B-Bender model? Is it a newer Glazer? Yes, it is. So this is the latest version of the Glazer bender. So it's got the little part here where it's coming out where the ball end goes through, and it comes over, and there you can see the neck plate. It says Glazer on there, Glazer bender. And it's got this is the tuning thing, so it stops at the right place. Yeah, I think it's my favorite bender. I mean, there's lots of other benders out there that are great, but I just think the Glazer is my favorite, and what I've kind of grew up with. Thank you. Says, I have a 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue, which I love, but what would be a smaller amp, any make with reverb that you recommend? Problem is, the smaller the cap, I mean, a Princeton reverb is the obvious choice. I would go with that. That's easier to carry around. If you want to go any smaller than that, then you could get the 68 Vibrachamp from Fender. It has a digital reverb circuit on there, but it sounds really good. I mean, it sounds different than a spring reverb, but that's a good option. I'd probably go with the Princeton first. So if you were just trying to get a step below, if you're really wanting to get a lot quieter, then I'd go with the Vibrachamp. Oh, let's see, Esther, you and Keith at 5 Watt World should interview each other. We've done live streams together. We've done plenty of them, but it would be fun to kind of interview each other. That would be a lot of fun. Jeff Anderson is recommending a Supro. So I think Supro makes some smaller single-ended, single output tube amps that have reverb on them. They make some nice things. Let's see. Here's. That's the back two pickups, the Stratty thing. Let's see. What can I do to improve the reverb on my 65 Deluxe Reverb reissue? Well, you can put another tank in there. I mean, sometimes there can be something wrong with the tank. You can get another tank of the same, ilk and try that. I mean, you could find someone else's amp that the same, Deluxe Reverb, and you could plug the cables into their reverb tank and see if their sounds better. Maybe there's something wrong with your tank. So, you know, there's a certain kind of Fender reverb sound. The other thing is make sure that it has the right reverb driver tube in there. Make sure it's a 12AT7 and not a 12AX7. That's one thing that can happen in there. So you might want to check that out, David. What do you think of the Vintage 263 issue? You know, I haven't played many of those models, and a lot of them have the little frets, which I don't really like. So I haven't played a lot of the Vintage 2 series. So sorry to say. And it probably has a rosewood, like a slab board instead of a veneer board, meaning it has more rosewood. And I don't know, you know, it's always, you know, I've seen, you know, amps with rosewood, I'm talking about necks with rosewood boards on guitars that can be brighter, and sometimes they're darker. It's, you know, you can't say, rosewood makes the guitar darker sounding. It just doesn't make sense. The Headstrong Little King reverb has gone up to 3,000. Seems high. Well, unfortunately, his demand has gone up a whole lot, and so he's kind of had to raise prices just to keep up. So that's happened, unfortunately. But he makes really good amps, and unfortunately, the originals are going for like 5,000 to 6,000 now. So, relatively speaking, it's not that awful. So, but sorry they've gotten that high. No, what is No It Pure? Sorry, I need to have my glasses on. Talks about the Swart Space Tone reverb. DK says a Blues Junior with a Cannabis Rex speaker is a great small amp. That is a great small amp. I used to have a Blues Junior. That was a cool small amp. Have another person commenting, Zach and Keith at the same time. Yeah, that would be interesting to have us on at the same time, like actually in the same room together. Ryan Gunwich. Okay, he's talking about the Supro. So, anywho, let's see. Keith McConchy says the Headstrong got the Zach Childs bump. Well, it also got the JD Simo bump, and there were other cats too. A bunch of us kind of started using the amp. JD got me into it, and unfortunately, yeah, the demand for them kind of went up, and especially it's just one guy making them, so it doesn't take a whole lot of demand to kind of push him into an area where he's, you know, he's having to make a lot more amps, and so he ended up having to raise prices. So anyway, it just happens. Happy birthday from Ireland. Thank you, Dave Keating. We just had our summer. It lasted all of 3 days. That's hilarious. I love Ireland. I've only been there once, but I just loved it. Zach, does guitar player in Nashville play the acoustic in an electric guitar amplifier? I mean, you can, but that's not the standard. Usually, if you have an acoustic guitar that you're playing live, you would run a pickup, you know, like some type of undersaddle or sound hole pickup. You'd run it into the PA. You can do like the John Leventhal thing, whereas you have two pickups on the guitar on an acoustic, and you run one through the PA that's kind of your natural sound, and then you run your sound hole pickup in an acoustic, and you run that through like your effects pedals and into a deluxe reverb. In fact, he did that in the last interview that I did with him. So if you want to learn about that, you can watch that. Look up True Tone and John Leventhal, and there's a couple of videos, and watch the most recent one. All right, well, we're getting caught up. Let's see, we got 118 watching right now. Very nice. Jim Frank says, thoughts on using small tube heads as a practice amp through headphones. Oh, well, that's a good idea. And if it's working for you, it's working for you. I mean, I tend to practice on an electric guitar unplugged, or I've got one of these Fender headphone amp things. It's called a Mustang Micro, and so I'll use that when I'm practicing quietly. That tends to be what I do. So, and thank you very much, Jacob Yard. He says, thanks for inspiring me to pick up the Tele again, admire the tones. How would you go about dialing similar tones on a Fender Tweed or Blackface? Well, they're pretty different sounding amps, just because, you know, the architecture, even the way where the tone controls are and everything else in the circuit are different. You know, Blackface amp is not going to have as much mid-range as, so if I was trying to make a Tweed sound like a Blackface, well, I'd probably try to get some reverb on it, and I'd probably try to take out as much mids as I possibly could. And then the reverse would be true. I'd probably turn the reverb down, and I'd probably try to turn the mids up somehow. It's still not going to completely mimic it, but that's going to be the best way to do that, is with your mid-range, whether you have more or less. You have more mids with a Tweed, you have less mids with a Blackface. And then, you know, and then also it's like speaker thing. I mean, you can, you know, if you really want to go down the rabbit hole, then it's Alnico speakers on a Tweed and ceramic in a Blackface. And then, of course, if you reverse it, well, it's going to start sounding a little bit more like the other. And the speakers are a huge way of changing your tone drastically and quickly. So, you know, you could put some type of like you could put a Celestian Ruby Alnico speaker, and that's going to push it where it's got a little more compression and things like that, and then boost the mids, and it's going to make a Blackface Deluxe sound more Tweedy, if it were. Still won't sound exactly the same. Gratuitous B-bender at the end. Yeah, and again, thank you to Jacob, and thank you to Kevin. Thank you, Kevin Cothran. Thank you for putting money in the tip jar. Appreciate that. And yeah, I'm always up for making you want another Tele. Alex Poteet says, I both blame you and thank you for the inspiration. Just bought a minty Japanese Tele 62 reissue with custom shop pickups. It's killer. I'm sure it is. Nothing, you know, the Japanese stuff, the quality is just so high and so consistent, and really great guitars. Jim says he's got a Mustang Micro as well, and it's a great choice too. Kelly Gotel says, are the old Teles grounded from the bridge control plate? No, they are not. So that's a more modern thing. I think it happened in the 80s. So in the olden days, there was no wire going from the ground to the bottom of the bridge. And that happened in the 1980s, specifically when Fender stopped having a grounded plate on the bottom of the Telecaster bridge pickup. So I've got a pickup. Well, it's a little bit away from here. I don't want to go grab it, but you know, on a Telecaster bridge pickup, it has a copper plate at the bottom. Well, that's what things are grounded to through the screws and stuff that hold it onto the bridge. Well, in the 80s, Fender stopped doing that. They took the plate off, and so that's why they had to add the other wire. And the problem is that Fender kind of continued to do that even when they brought the plate back and on different models. So all of a sudden you had all these guitars that have dual ground connections, which can cause problems. So you don't need both of them. So if it's buzzing a lot, then you may have some type of interference thing, or it could be that it's not connecting to ground real well, and maybe you do need, what you can do is get a little piece of wire and connect the bridge to the control plate. Just kind of jam a piece there and jam a piece there, and if the hum, if the buzz goes away completely, then yeah, you do have a ground problem where the ground is not connecting properly, and so yeah, so you might need to have that addressed, or you could just have a secondary ground done. So let's see. Catfish Coyote, gratuitous B-bender for the win. Yeah. What do you country guys think about artists like Prince and Michael Jackson? I mean, I like Prince and Michael Jackson. I grew up listening to them. I mean, those are artists from my generation. I mean, I was watching TV, when 1999 was a brand new song. I remember watching it with my cousins and my sister Courtney. We watched it on solid gold. I remember being at our cousin's house, and we watched him, Prince and the Revolution, sing in 1999. And I remember, of course, all those Michael Jackson songs in the early 80s that were just huge and ever present. You couldn't get away from them, and they were especially on the bus as we were, riding the bus to and from school. So, I love, and I still enjoy hearing those songs. And I even enjoy, getting to play some of those songs every once in a while, Little Billie Jean. Let's see. I want a Nashville Telly Brent Mason signature or that type. Well, go find one. I mean, you could go get a Telly and have a middle pickup added, but it's probably cheaper to find one that's already got a middle pickup. So yeah, find a Nashville Telly and have at it and enjoy. What 8-inch speaker should I put in my 65 Vibrochamp if the original speaker ever needs replacing? I would get a Weber. Get one of the. I think you're wanting like a 3.5 or 4 ohm. I can't remember the exact ohmage, but Weber makes a really good little 8-inch, replacement for the Champ. But I would use the original one as long as you can, because nothing's going to sound exactly like it. So David Keating says ground loop. Yeah, I was talking about the ground on a telly. So you end up getting a ground loop if sometimes you cause problems by having multiple ground connections. Let's see. Jacob Yard says, what are your initial amp settings for your sound? Right now I'm using my deluxe reverb because my Lil King, my Headstrong, still has the cover on it from the gig from last week. And so I've got the volume on 3, the treble on 5, and the bass on 5, and the reverb on just under 3. So that's it. And then if I have a mid-range control, which of course this amp doesn't, I usually turn that up. So I blame. Okay, and then Michael Davis says, I blame and thank Zach for my 2 Partscaster tellies, trying to decide whether to change up one with a neck humbucker decision. And do it. Why not? If it's already routed for it, do it. But if you have to route it, well, maybe you have to. I'm sure you can find some other pickup that'll go in there, a gold foil or anything else. That might be Jillian, but it's a Lukather lick. Yeah, it's either Lukather or there was another guitarist that played on that record along with Lukather that did a lot of the funkier, clean stuff. David Williams. It may be a David Williams lick, but it could be a Lukather lick. So, Christmas music ukulele. Better late greetings from the Netherlands. Well, greetings to you, ukulele. So close to sending my Telecaster to Glazer for a B-bender. I'm scared to do anything but... I think you can ship it, regular and just insure it, and I think it'll be okay. I shouldn't be giving you shipping advice, so I guess you need to go with what you feel is best. Yeah. Catfish Coyote says, is it possible to change from a medium throw to long throw? Yes. So they can change the throw on these guys. You can't do it yourself, so you know, but it can be changed. So I mean, I could take this into Glazer and they could change it from a long. Right now it's on a short throw, but they could change it to a medium or a long throw. But it's something they have to change out a part in there, I think, and they move it around, or they move something around internally. So, and maybe it is something they could, you know, show you how to do or something. So, yeah. Yeah, I would contact, go to Glazer Bender and send them an email and say that you want to change yours from long to medium or what have you, and see if it can be done, done by your tech or you. So, Troy Loop says, I got to find a Fender pillow. Yes, this Vox pillow is really nice. It's soft. This was a birthday present from Dana, who I work with at True Tone. It was very nice of him to give me this. We had lunch with the True Tone guys today, and that was a lot of fun. So, yes, now it's back to the normal view. Let's see. Hi, Zach, Chris from Wells. If you had a Brad Paisley Telly, would you match it with a Vox AC10 or a Vibrachamp, or does it even matter? Always follow the show over here. Well, you know, the Brad Paisley Road Worn is just a really great guitar, and I think you can put it with any amp that you like. And so you get the guitar, and then you play through an AC10, and you play through a Vibrachamp, and you see which one, you know, you like the sound of better, and that's what you go with. So. See, Zach was probably sold on Prince the minute he saw and heard that Hofner Telly. Yeah, that's what he played early on, and then he, you know, of course, you know, he started playing those weird custom guitars later on. But yeah, I liked that he played a Telly. It didn't hurt. All right, so we got to say goodbye to my dear sister, who's got to go to Sam's. So so, thank you, Courtney. I much appreciate you moderating and keeping everyone honest. Have a good evening. Hugh says, don't buy a pillow, make one from old stitched up Tolex, but stuffed with cat hair. I don't think, my wife's allergic to cat hair, but that sounds like a not too bad idea. Let's see. That's all 3 pickups. It's kind of a weird sound. That's the back 2. And then this is the outer 2 pickup. Whoa. It's a little late for Christmas, but anyway. Let's see. I enjoy hearing you play, bro. Thank you, David. Do you have lessons on your Patreon? Yes, there are lesson videos on the Patreon. So there's probably around 10 of them so far. And so I add a couple, all the time. And so, yeah, there are. And, you can, there are lessons on the Patreon. So, what is the weight of that Glazer telly? This is not a Glazer telly. It looks like a Glazer telly, but it's not. And the weight on it is probably 7.5 to 7 3/4. It's under 8 pounds. It's kind of a little bit heavier of an ash body, but not like a boat anchor or anything. So it does. that's why I did this. I did, you know, because this is an old body from 1982 with the original finish on it, and lots of good honest wear. And then this is a neck that Dan Strain put on a couple of years ago. So yeah, it does look like a Glazer telly. So will the Vox pillow help improve my snoring tone? Might get more mid-range. Yes, I think you'll get glassy highs and more mids. All right, well, we've been going for an hour, so I probably ought to, you know, go ahead and get off. And my apologies to Keith Williams for running against his live stream. So I didn't know that when I set mine. So anywho, I hope y'all have a good rest of the day. Again, I need to tell you, y'all need to get on Instagram, because there's going to be some really cool stuff that I'm going to release about collaboration I've been working on with Brad Paisley. So you need to be on Instagram. And so you need to follow me or Brad Paisley, whichever one, and you'll be getting some cool videos in the next couple of days, and about a cool project that we've been working on. So go follow either me or Brad Paisley on Instagram if you want to learn about this fun thing we've been working on. It's about tellies. All right. All right. Well, let's see. I'm going to guess I'll answer. What obscure record would you recommend that you haven't spoken about on the channel? Golly. That's a good question. You know, my buddy JD Simo gives me really interesting albums, and so here's one that's really interesting that I've enjoyed, and this is David Axelrod, Songs of Experience. This is really cool music. So again, it's on Capitol. And so you said obscure record. So, and this has been used in a lot of rap music. They take David Axelrod music. So that's one, you know, for you to pull you in a different direction. All right, guys. Thank you so much, and I'll see you soon. We'll have a regular Ask Zach episode next week. Again, not to sound like a broken record, but go follow on Instagram so that you get to you know, hear about the new telly-related project. So we'll see you later. Adios, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.